Sure.
Okay, so today Paul is going to do a quite controversial for many of us lunchtime lecture on morality, ethics, and God. So quite a sensitive topic for many perhaps, but this is why we do lunchtime lectures, and this is who we are. We are open to interesting, difficult, opposing viewed discussions. So let's give him a hand.
Before we begin, I want to stress that all of this is my opinion and I'm not forcing you to agree with me. And also, my understanding of religion is heavily, or like my thoughts on religion are heavily biased towards mainly Protestantism, simply because simply because I usually exist in more like in English info space, and it is mostly skewed towards Protestantism in general. Okay, morality, ethics, and God. Why I believe that there is no God, and we still kinda need him. Okay, so first of all, what is God? For our purposes, I'll try to define God as the creator of the universe that we can from who we can infer an objective morality that we can follow. I think everyone understands why it's the creator of the universe, because it's how we usually think of how we usually think of God. But the part of morality I think is more important because it's something that is actually useful to us. Because otherwise it doesn't really matter if the universe has a creator or not if he doesn't care about what we do. So why I believe that God does not exist? The simple answer is that all of the arguments for his existence are not really great, because they wouldn't work in any other context when talking about anything else. And I think that we believe in that people came up with this argument because they already have this position, because humans are not rational and they have certain base. Certain things that they believe in, and they try to justify them. And the thing is with God is that the burden of proof lays on the people that try to argue for God, because of Occam's razor. It's like when you always choose the simpler answer if you don't have evidence for the more complicated one. So. No God is simpler than the existence of God. If you can't prove that something exists, then probably something doesn't exist. And what are the arguments that people give for God's existence and why they don't really work? And even if you believe in God, you can still use this as an exercise. Because the first one, and probably the least viable one, is the Pascal wager. Pascal's wager argues that a rational person should believe in God because if God is real, there is a possibility for infinite reward. And if God does not exist, a atheist and a believer will have the same outcome. Thus, the person should believe in God. This, first of all, it's not an argument for the existence of God. It's an argument on why it's rational to believe in God, but it's not an argument as to why God should exist. Second of all, it assumes that life is worthless, which I mean, because it doesn't matter how exactly you live in life, and whatever you do in it doesn't matter if you're gonna die either way. You can agree with this position or not, but like if you're making this argument, you're claiming that you have to claim that life is worthless, and this ignores the fact that there is more than one religion. So let's say a devoted Muslim dies, and then it turns out that Mormons are right. So the devoted Muslim basically spend their life following the wrong God. So that's why Pascal wager is not the right one. The cosmological argument. Cosmological argument says that everything in the universe has a cause. Therefore, in order to escape an infinite chain of causation, there must be a first cause. And the people using this argument argue, sorry, what's the mistake, that this first cause is God. First of all, it doesn't say anything about objective morality. It just says that there was a first movement. Second, it doesn't say that God did something. It's just pushing the problem one step further. Why do we need to come up with another uncaused cause if we can just assume that the universe existed? The universe just exists for how it is. Like the people who are making this argument said that okay, there is a new universe and it must be created by something. But why can't the universe just create itself? Like it's because when you're saying that God created the universe, you're saying that God just existed. Why can't the universe just exist? And this one is actually the best one. I have a counter argument, but out of all the arguments that people give for God-specific existence, it's probably the best one. It argues that in order for life to form, there needs to be a very specific set of parameters in the universe, which are too unlikely to exist without an intelligent creator. This one is interesting because indeed those parameters are pretty specific. But the thing is, it just pushes the problem one step further. Because for an intelligent creator to appear, there needs to be a universe with parameters for intelligence to appear, which is unlikely by the same argument. So again, we're just pushing the problem one step further. And again, it doesn't really give us any information about objective morality specifically. Also, apart from God's existence, like there are a few other explanations. The one explanation that I personally don't like, but people use this as a counter argument, is that if those parameters weren't so specific, then we wouldn't appear and we wouldn't be able to observe them. But that's a so-so argument. But okay, so God does not exist, and what do we do now? Since there is no God, there is no objective morality, and we cannot say that anything is objectively evil. Yes, even the thing you are thinking of right now, it does it. Mm-hmm. And without objective morality, moral relativism automatically becomes true. Moral relativism is basically a version of morals that argues that anyone has their own morality and there is no objective morality, which is, I believe that this is true, but that's very unfortunate. Like for example, we can say that murder is wrong because of we can say that murder is objectively wrong because of moral relativism. And okay, God does not exist, but should we get rid of religion? No, mainly because it's extremely helpful for society. First of all, it makes people more happy on average. It gives people community and it gives people purpose. But those are like not too important in the grand scheme of things. The thing that it does is that it provides society with common values. Like even if God is not a creator of objective morality, if people believe in God's existence, then they share some common morals laws. And most religious values are justifiable from secular standpoint. Like for example, monogamy is actually pretty helpful because it gets rid of it makes more people be able to have family, and it stabilizes society because the one thing that you don't want to have in your society is a lot of young unmarried men because they will create problems because they have nothing to do. And like the religions that allow polygamy, they also give ideological reasons to get rid of the men in some other way. Like for example, send them in a holy war, which also stabilizes the country and expands the religion. And lifelong marriage are actually really important because people without fathers, for example, are much worse off on average because of that. And pronatalism, which is actually extremely important in our modern society. Because what happens when society loses religion? So the thing is, when people lose religion, they abandon like most traditional values that are actually helpful. Like for example, again, pronatalism. And right now there is one developed nation that has a birth rate above replacement rate. So without replacement rate, the society is either going to die or change, because there just wouldn't be enough people in the society. And that's Israel, and they're extremely religious. So there is a huge correlation. This leads to lower birth rate and weakening of society, obviously, and since the society doesn't have enough people to actually sustain itself, it can't defend itself either. And so usually someone just comes in and conquers the society. Like this is what happened to Greece and ancient Rome. They suffered pretty much similar things that we're doing today when there are very few religious people actually left. And so, what are our options? Do nothing and die as a society, because no one's actually going to have children. There will be not enough people left, and then someone can do this. Gaslight ourselves into believing that traditional religions are true. Again, we can do this, and it might work, but we need to understand that those are not really true, and we just do this because it works, not because God really exists. Or we can try to create a system of ideas not tied to God specifically that reinforces the same values. Like the closest thing I think that there is in the world right now, I think is Confucianism. It's similar because it's not really religion, but it also is just basically a moral framework. Yep, thank you for listening.
Questions? Any questions?
I have a question. So on one of the slides you mentioned that with the loss of religion comes up to pretty much just the loss of society essentially, and the breakdown of society. Since a large percentage of the population, even today, are non-religious, do you believe that they have, at this moment, no moral compass whatsoever?
I think that they have moral compass, but the thing is, it's based on the fact that the society was previously religious. It just haven't dissolved yet fully. It's like when you have a society that follows one specific religion, like some moral principles from it will stay for some time.
But then do you believe that there are no essential parts of essentially maybe human empathy or social conditioning that plays a role in a person's morality?
It does, but the thing is, it plays a role in person's morality, which is literally like the definition of moral relativism when we say that each person has its own morality. There are some psychopaths that don't have the same empathy, etc. So again, it's moral relativism again.
Any other questions?
You were saying that the burden of proof lies on the theists to prove that God exists.
Yes.
Are you certain God does not exist?
The same way that I'm certain that there is no teapot orbiting around a black hole in another galaxy. Like in theory, it might be there, but since there is no proof for its existence, we just can assume that it doesn't exist.
What proof are you looking for?
Specific miracles and possibly like God Himself coming to Earth and saying us what to do.
Well, the reason I asked it is because there's many things that we all believe in or say we do, but they are invisible. Can you prove that your mother loves you?
Actually,
Love is an abstract, constructed construct, maybe, but you know it is true.
Okay,
or you don't.
love is based a lot on chemicals in your brain, so we can measure them.
Love is not just a chemical, and people who are experienced love will say that.
The thing is, I am myself. I believe that the universe is like I believe in a very mechanistic universe. I don't believe in anything supernatural, and that I believe that love is just chemical effects in our brain.
Thank you for your time. It's great.
Well, we don't have time for more questions because we all need to get to lessons. However, that's why there was a Google form sent out to everyone quite some time ago about taboo time, which only one person in the whole school filled out, which is a real shame. It's anonymous, it doesn't mean you sign up, but the point is, taboo time is to have a space here, which is why all of this appeared, so that we can come Mondays at lunchtime and talk about our differences and difficult topics in a respectful manner where we can be open about how we feel, how we think, and where our differences lie. So those of you who have not filled in, which is all of you except one person in school, and I don't know who that is, you know, put it in because we want to create that space. But unless I know that there's an interest, we can't start it. And, you know, we don't always agree about everything. We have different points of view that can clash. But the brilliance is that we take that leap into faith to stand